actually going to replicate anyway the biomechanics of it, and that's a very different ball game. But UKR, I think, tries as much as possible to replicate the biomechanics. So we'll talk about the fixed bearing UKRs and the mobile bearing UKRs. And these are two very different school of thoughts. So in the end, I think both of them work very well, and the end result is same, but there is a difference in the way they actually work. So we'll talk about function, longevity, and what the literature is telling us. The only slight drawback I would think where the fixed bearings are that if you look at the literature, almost dominated by the Oxford group, and because they have been very methodical in their data collection and publications, whereas the fixed bearings have not been so, and the ones which even publish now have disappeared from the market. So that's a small drawback with, and the ones which are actually still existing don't seem to publish that much. So we talk about longevity. I don't think there's a debate now. UKRs actually last, in my hands, as good as TKRs, and in designers' hands, it lasts even better than TKRs. But I think we'll take that comment with a pinch of salt. And the only thing down, this is what I'm saying, that hardly any, when I say hardly any, there is at least the link group I know is been still the same as what we were training it with. It used to be called St. George's Sled at that time. Now they call it Link Uni. And this has been almost similar without too much of change in design. But otherwise, all the fixed bearings came and somehow went back. And even if you look at the current today, you just heard that the Journey 1 and Journey 2. So it's a different base plate for the tibia has changed. So the design is changing for the fixed bearings. Somehow we never seem to be very happy with the fixed bearings, and we find some fault and we tweak a little bit. But they're getting there. I think they're getting very good. So mobile bearing, again, not all mobile bearings are same. If you remember, we used to have slides. So the poly used to slide to and fro, but did not rotate. And in Oxford, it not only slides, but it also rotates. So this is something very different. And the reason it is different is because it is trying to replicate the meniscal function. One part of the meniscal function is you reduce friction by actually moving around. You see here, there's too much of pressure if you don't move. But if you move around, the pressure is well distributed. So that's the whole basic concept behind Oxford. And it's very funny if I ever get time to talk to you how actually Oxford came into existence. Because I used to train in Bristol, which is just a couple of hours from Oxford. And the data collection center was Bristol and Oxford actually. We used to do almost the same amount of Oxford which the Oxford themselves were doing. And so this is how we are replicating. So one of this is being replicated. Next is the meniscal mobility. Now, it's not just the poly which moves, poly rotates, so that's one part of the movement, and also it adapts. So wherever the femur is going, the poly is actually following it. So this is, we know. The other thing is the lateral side, and this is being diagrammed, and the same concept is now being used by the middle pivot knees, where the medial side doesn't move, the lateral side moves a lot. So there is some movement happening on medial side, not a lot, and that is where the mobile bearings on the lateral side, which moves a lot, are almost like a failure. So you can't replicate the same concept on the lateral side because of the amount of movement which happens on the lateral side. And Oxford themselves will say the warning that don't use our implants for the lateral side. It's only, they try it on a theoretical basis for their own experiments, but for us it's forbidden. One thing we are not able to replicate, you know, when you have stresses on the meniscus also compresses and relaxes. Now that is something we can't replicate with poly. So that biomechanical concept will still be an enigma to us, unless in future some special form of poly is coming. But at this moment, this is one function we are not able to replicate with the mobile bearing knees. So we'll move forward a bit. So what about the wear rates? So biomechanically, we would think that when you are pressing on the polys will wear out. If you see what the Oxford cut is like, it's a 3 mm cut for majority of our patients. So it's a 3 mm poly which is going to go in. And you would expect that such a thin poly, and compared to your TKR polys, 9, 10 mm polys. So you would think that what happens to this 3 mm poly? And the answer is the wear rate. The wear rate for the polys are so good. So I mean, so good that we don't need to worry about the wear. And I'll come back to the actual figures a bit later. However, the previous generations of fixed bearing polys had too much of pressure going onto it and were wearing out. So that was one big issue with the previous generations of fixed bearing. And that is the reason so. If you look at the contact stress, on the left side of your picture is the fixed bearing, right hand is the typical meniscal bearing poly. And this is the pressure being generated. So the moment you cross from orange to yellow, you are in a danger zone. And if you look at the fixed bearing, always in a danger zone. whatever degree of heel strike, mid stance, toe off, whichever type of walking you are doing, whichever part of the walking you are doing, the stresses are there. And on the same area of the poly. So that is why the fixed bearing polys were wearing out very fast. Now, if we have to overcome this issue, because this issue will remain with every fixed poly, if we have to overcome, then we need to get a very good quality of poly, which fortunately on our generation is available. And that is why you see a huge resurgence of the fixed bearing polys. So retrieval studies, if you look at the wear rates which are happening, look at this. Even a badly done mobile bearing UKR, even at 13 years has worn out only 0.8 mm. So only 0.8 mm at 13 years, a badly done UKR. A reasonably good done UKR on average 0.03. So after 10 years it's 0.3 mm. 20 years 0.6. Almost nothing. So 20 years survivals just by this. So that is something I think very wonderful. So this is the 10-year retrieval studies. It won't last if you have impingement. Now this is not something which the Oxford group picked up. This was picked up by Swart, who was a Swedish surgeon. And I think if you look at his studies, with impingement and without impingement, you see there's a huge difference. So even Oxford will fail if there is impingement. And this is why you were just seeing that you need to take away the amount of bone which is the poly is going to hit. So knee kinematics, if you look at, put a thing and actually look x-rays, it replicates exactly what a normal knee mechanics do. So your UKRs are beginning to replicate those. And this is again one very good picture. What it tells you is the patelotibial axis. That generates the patellofemoral forces. If you can replicate just like a normal knee, the wear rates are going to be less. But if it's not going to replicate, if they're not going to mobile that, then you're going to be. So that is why TKR never replicates. Look at this. This is normal knee. This is what a TKR is like. Never going to replicate it. This is Oxford 1 year, Oxford 10 years. It will replicate even after 10 years. So that's the beauty of this system. So I think we'll probably skip most of the things. Just want to say one thing, ACL, it's not like it's a disaster, still getting you about 70% results at around 10 years time. So even if you have ACL deficit, and the designer surgeons have got good results. In fact, a non-designer surgeon from Sweden had even better results than Oxford. So it is actually independent. Only thing is you have to do it in sufficient numbers. If you can't, then you are in trouble. And robotic, I think, is the new kit. Whatever little tweaking you have to do, now you can do it with robotic. And you have a very beautiful illustration of that. And I think in summary, it's not about which uni or TKR is the debate. Doesn't matter whether you use mobile bearing or this thing, both work very well. And I think we need to welcome the future with open hands. But when you do UKR, make sure you have a TKR in the backup. Otherwise you might be exposed sometimes. Thank you.